Hello and welcome back to Fun Algebra 2. Hopefully everybody's surviving and thriving and doing our best. So I'm going to go over yesterday's work. We're going to go through each problem. Hopefully this will answer any questions that you have. And then you're going to practice some more on Thursday, and then you're going to take a little assessment online on Friday. So again, if you have questions, please make sure you're asking. All right, number one we did together, yesterday, so I just left those answers up there. So looking at number two, we are going to factor an x out to begin with. So then we have x squared minus 7x plus 12. So we're doing just quadratic factoring. So factors of 12 that add to give me 7 can be 4 and 3, right? And so if you don't remember the signs, remember we did this graphic yesterday, you can have that out, or remember the first sign comes straight down. The second sign is plus, so that means that these two have to match. All right, and remember, we're essentially setting each of these to equal 0, equal 0, equal 0. So then we would solve, so 0, 4, and 3. So those are the three solutions for number 2. Okay, number 3, again, we're going to start off by factoring out an x to begin with. So now we're looking for factors of 10 that are going to add to give us 7, which is 5 and 2. And then set each of those to equal 0. So it's going to be 0, 5, and positive 2. Those are my three solutions. Put little commas in between those. All right, number 4, factor out an x ahead of time. So we get x squared plus 3x plus 2. So we're looking for factors of 2 that are going to add to give us 3. So it's 2 and 1. Both of these end up being plus. Remember, I always carry down that x that I factored out to begin with. So then I'm going to have 0, -2, and -1 as my three solutions, or my three zeros, or where this graph crosses the x-axis. Number 5, factor out an x to begin with. And then I'm looking for factors of 3 that add to give me 4, 3 and 1. So this would be 0, 3, and positive 1. Remember, at this step right here, what I'm doing is I'm thinking in my head that each one of these equals 0, and I would be solving for the x. Okay? Again, if I'm going too quick, then you can always pause the video, rewind, go back. You can kind of look at your work and compare it to mine, stuff like that. All right, on number 6, same thing. I'm going to factor out an x ahead of time. And then I'm going to factor this quadratic. So on this case, we have to, would become our AC method. Remember we did this one yesterday in that video. So just as a reminder, this was our answers. X equals 0, x equals 3, and x equals -1/5. So if you don't remember how to do this one, go back to yesterday's video and you can look at that. Number 7, once again, factor out an x to begin with, and now we're going to end up with AC method. So 3 times 12 gives me 36. I'm looking for factors of 36 that subtract to give me 5. Okay, so x on the outside. So that's going to be 9 and 4. So now we have minus and a plus, and then we divide by our a value. So we have x times x minus 3, and then x plus 4/3. Remember, all we're doing essentially is flipping the sign on those. So we get 0, 3, and -4/3 as our three solutions. Okay, number 8, same exact thing. Factor out an x to begin with, and then we're going to be doing AC method. So 3 times 3 gives me 9. So factors of 9 that subtract to give me 8. It's going to be 9 and 1. So minus and a plus here. Divide by our a value. So now we have x minus 3 and x plus 1/3. And so we get 0, 3, and -1/3. Pretty simple, just combining all sorts of different methods that we've used before of factoring with quadratics. So using some of your prior knowledge to find your zeros of your polynomial. Okay, So then let's look down here at number 9. Yesterday, I believe in our video, we did number 9 and number 11. So remember 9, our solutions were that it was negative square root of 2, positive square root of 2, and then 2/3. Those were our 3 solutions. And again, you could have written this as plus minus square root of 2 instead of having to write them out separately. All right, so let's look at number 10. So first off, I look at all 4 terms. There's nothing that will divide evenly into all 4. So now I'm just going to look at the first 2 terms. So on here, we've got, I'm going to factor out x squared. So that leaves me 7x minus 2. And then here I'm going to bring down my sign. So 42 and 12, I can divide by 6. So this is 7x, and then this is a positive 12 divided by a negative 6, which gives me a negative 2. So I got x squared minus 6 and 7x minus 2. Now I take each one of those separately and I make them equal 0 and I solve. So add 6 to both sides and then take the square root. So then I get x equals plus minus square root of 6. And then here we have 7x minus 2 equals 0. Add 2 to both sides. 7x equals 2. Divide by 7. So then our other solution is 2/7. So our 3 answers here for this one would be plus minus square root of 6. Remember, that's 2 solutions. And then 2/7. Okay. All right. Number 11 we did together yesterday in that video. So number 11's answers were plus minus I radical 3, and then also 5/2. Okay? And if you don't remember how to do that, go back and watch yesterday's video. All right, on this one, I'm going to factor out a 4x squared to begin with. That leaves me with 2x minus 3. Bring down the minus. Here I'm going to factor out a 5, 2x minus 3. So I combine my 4x squared and my negative 5. 4x squared minus 5. And then notice that my other 2 parentheses are exactly the same, so write that once. Now we're going to split off, and we're going to make each one of these equal, not bad, I'm writing what I'm saying, equal 0. So add 5 to both sides. 4x squared equals 5. Divide by 4. And you get x squared equals 5/4. To get rid of the squared, we square root. So square root the top and bottom separately. And you get x equals plus minus the square root of 5 over 2. Because the square root of 4 is 2. All right, now we'll do the other one. So 2x minus 3 equals 0. So add 3 to both sides. So 2x equals 3. Divide by 2. So x equals 3/2. So those are your 3 solutions right there. Okay. All right, last one, number 13. So I can factor out a 4 before I even begin this whole thing. So if I factor out a 4, I'm left with this 32x and then plus 8. Right, so we divide 4 out of everything first. Now I'm going to look at my first 2 terms. This 4 out here, I can kind of ignore right now because that's not going to affect me finding my zeros. It just gave me more manageable numbers, not such big numbers I have to deal with. So I'm going to factor out an x squared. So I'm left with 4x minus 1. And between 32 and 8, I can factor out an 8. So 4x minus 1. So we take the leftovers. That's one set of parentheses. And then the other set of parentheses is the one that repeats. And then we're going to make each of these equal 0 and solve. Okay, so we get x squared equals 8. We'll take the square root of both sides. So we get x equals plus minus. Now, square root of 8, remember that can be simplified. That can be broken down into the square root of 4 times the square root of 2, which is 2 radical 2. Now, if you don't simplify, it would be wrong. So make sure that you simplify. Make sure you're paying attention to that. So there's 2 of the solutions, right? The positive and the negative. And then over here, 4x minus 1 equals 0. So we'd add 1 to both sides. Get 4x equals 1, divide by 4. So x equals 1/4. So there's your other solution. Okay? All right, make sure that you read for Thursday's assignment. Make sure you read what problems you guys are actually going to be working on. Pay attention to that. If you have questions, again, I cannot stress this enough. Please, please, please ask me questions. Message me, whatever you need to do, because we are going to take a little assessment on this on Friday. So make sure you ask questions if you don't understand. Okay? Thanks, guys.